Well, the CEO of the CDC Group is here to talk us through his mission. Richard Laing, thank you very much indeed for joining us. Now, CDC, I know it hasn't been called this for years, but it originally was the Commonwealth Development Corporation. The idea is that the development and the investment is very ethical and it's to help people get out of poverty, but it's also very important to you that those businesses are profitable. Why is that?
That's right. We're owned by the UK government, and the government have realised that the only antidote to poverty is wealth. And it's the private sector that generates that wealth. The public sector spends it. So our mission is to invest our capital. We have about $4 billion US dollars to invest in sustainable and successful private sector businesses. Because it's those businesses that employ people, generate taxes and create the wealth that will reduce poverty.
Now, you're doing this in some of the most difficult markets. I mentioned emerging markets there, but it isn't the ones we traditionally think of, the BRIC companies. You're looking at Sub-Saharan Africa. And often when we think of those places, we think of places with real problems with corruption and instability. And yet you're looking at long-term investments of 10 years or more. That must be tricky to do and to work out just where to invest that money.
It is tricky, and you're right, we focus on Sub-Saharan Africa and also in South Asia and India. So, for example, a couple of weeks ago, I was in India. And I met some businesses in which we're investing. The transport company that runs all the buses, or most of the buses, in Indore on the west coast. A couple of hospitals, including one new maternity unit. A group of microfinance people, women who are looking to just receive a few £100s a year, but to put that into entrepreneurial activities. All of these things are generating wealth, and we want to see very successful businesses.
So your business development is very far-reaching, really. I mean, you're everything from mobile phones to agriculture, perhaps sometimes not the traditional things that we expect to find in Sub-Saharan Africa and Asia.
No, but Sub-Saharan Africa needs more than just some of the basic businesses. It needs to have a wide range. So we're invested in things like banks, insurance companies, as well as traditional manufacturing, infrastructure. There's a huge need for good infrastructure in Sub-Saharan Africa. So our activities are spread across a range of sectors. And
I mean, it must be very difficult to persuade other people to put private equity into these areas. Does it help that if you have quite a long-term track record, as you have, of investing in profitable companies, that you can actually show that and say, OK, it can work. Maybe it's not very easy, but it can work. Yeah. Well,
you're spot on. That track record is important. We need to demonstrate we can make good profits, and we do. Over the last 5 years, we've been averaging 16% per annum, which is a good return for these difficult markets. And that, of course, includes the difficult times of 2008. So, yes, we need to demonstrate that, and we do.
Now, of course, with the recent round of cuts that we're about to find, this isn't actually, the money that you're investing isn't taxpayers' money that you got recently. You actually work on the basis that the money that was originally given to you by the government, and now, as you invest it, you're getting profit on that and you reinvest that money.
That's right. We haven't had any new money from the government since over 15 years ago. Since that time, we were worth approximately £1 billion sterling then. We're now worth about £2.5 billion sterling. And that's because we've been making good returns and we've been recycling that cash so that we can do even more in these difficult markets.
Now, you recently got some headlines that I'm sure you didn't want. I think the Daily Mail said that you had the jet-set lifestyle of Quango fat cats. What's your response to that?
Well, we need to have the right resources. They were complaining about expenses. We do travel business class, for example. We need to stay in hotels when we travel. And we need to make sure we've got the right human resources. We have a team of really expert, good, competent people, and we need to pay them appropriately.
You have people in London. You also have people presumably on the ground in these countries who are actually looking at the businesses as they're running?
Well, the team is based in London. We travel extensively. And then we have our fund managers, the people who are actually making the investment decisions, are based overseas, mainly in Sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia, as you said earlier.
OK, Richard Laing, fascinating business that you're putting together. Thank you very much indeed for coming in and sharing it with us.
Thank you.